right, we're back. Another week, another Cornhole podcast. What's going on? We're here with
another dollar.
We're here with the Pinos. We got Pino to the left of me, Pino to the right of me. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
What's
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having us here.
Right on,
Before we
Thanks for having
started,
us.
I've got my Creedmoor Pilsner that I'm graciously drinking. and sipping.
Nice.
What do you got there, Seb?
So I was gonna grab a Bud Light, but because the two Pinos are drinking coffee, I go, I'll go a little weak too. Here,
Nice.
I'm gonna do a White Claw. I'll go with the White Claw here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's nothing like a nice decaf coffee before bedtime. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
It's Sanka. Do you guys remember Sanka from back in the
Of course.
day? Yeah, there you go.
Right
So
on.
what kind of coffee you got, Pino Panza?
I got a McCafe.
Nice.
McCafe, nice.
Yeah, out of my Keurig. It's top notch.
Top.
Hey, same. Panza, same thing.
Nice.
Mine's just
See,
decaf.
well, you guys are like the same name, the same coffee. Holy geez.
That's right.
All right, so let's get into this, man. So, I mean, we got lots to talk to you today about. We have probably lots in our mind, but I think before we get kind of really into the deep of it, let's just kind of ask you guys, like, how'd you guys get involved, or like, how'd you get introduced to cornhole? Like, maybe just start with like your cornhole story, like where it started and like where you first learned about it. So maybe Panza, we'll start with you. Like, how'd you first get introduced to cornhole?
First got introduced to it at a pool party, actually. We were playing in the backyard, and I was really good. So I go, this is for me.
Yeah, I remember
Now
like
I
that
stink.
100%.
But now I stink. I see everyone playing, and I'm like, I'm not good at all.
It's from the bocce, I guarantee.
Yeah.
I'm really good
Yeah,
at bocce, so yeah.
Right on, man. How about you, Gatto? So we're gonna call you. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Gatto, you gonna call me Gatto?
I'm gonna call you Gatto from now on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, honestly, same thing. Backyard party. I didn't even know what the game was at first, to be perfectly honest. And it was such an easy game to play, and it was interesting to me of how competitive it got, how quickly it got so competitive. So that's it, literally at a party. I knew nothing about cornhole, and we just started playing it, and grew from there. To be honest,
Was it at the same party?
was at the same party.
Ours was at the same party, yeah.
Was at the same party. See,
Nice.
we got hook, line, and sinker in cornhole at the same party.
And Seb, was it at your party?
It was at my party. Yeah.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
just. So
The only thing I'm going to say is I didn't get my invitation.
you didn't get. Yeah. You know what's funny? You didn't get the invitation, but
because my name's not Pino.
your name's not- But it's funny because
You're a professional. That's why.
That's right.
No,
I remember that day, and honestly, what I remember, like the most vivid thing was like I put out the boards, and we had like a bunch of other buddies there, and I remember these guys were like, "What the hell?" And I go, "Guys, you guys want to play cornhole?" They're like looking at me like, "Who is this guy? Like, what are you talking about?" I put the boards out. Right from the first throw, everybody just got hooked. Like even we had Costa there and Nick and and it just as soon as they started playing, at first everybody was a little bit timid, but then we structured like a little tournament, and it got so competitive so fast.
Yeah.
And that's probably the beauty of the game. Like, what do you guys think of like that aspect? Just anybody new just playing, like it gets so competitive so quick.
That's what I like about it. For me, it's like anyone can play. That's what I love about it. Doesn't matter anything. Doesn't matter about your age. You can be 5 years old and wanting to play, and you can be 60 years old wanting to play, and you can be just as good. Age does not matter in this sport, which to me is huge, because in every other sport out there, it's all about age, how old you are before you can play, and that.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about it.
And listen, practice makes perfect in every sport, but I mean, you can pick up cornhole so easy and be decent at it without a lot of work, right? Once you start playing though, and you start seeing other people play that actually know how to play the game, you realize the strategy behind each throw. And that's where it's like, wow, there actually is strategy to this game. I have to learn more about it, right? And to be honest, what took me over the edge with cornhole is after said party, I was at home chilling out. It was like 11:30 or something like that. And actually, I probably never noticed it in my life. But then I saw the game on TV, and I'm like, okay, Seb, you know what? You got something going here. Let's figure something out. Like cornhole's real. Cornhole's real.
Yeah, and so just to that point, I remember at that party, we were in the pool. I remember sitting there, and before I can get the words out of my mouth, I was like, guys, we should like start. And you guys are like, I'm in. before I even like said, you both said I'm in. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And literally, that's how we kind of started like Barry in Toronto. Like we literally just said, let's do it, and we started to start the league and try to get the game going. So yeah.
So you got Pino and Pino. It's kind of like Johnson and Johnson, right?
That's actually the name of our secondary brand. We have a clothing line.
Yeah.
Pino. Johnson, yeah, but that's X-rated, right? X-rated.
Yeah.
So that's great. So you guys fell in love with the game because of this guy, which I blame as well, because my story is the same with him getting me involved. Were you using the Dirty Janino boards back then?
Yeah,
too?
it was the Dirty Janinos.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
the Janino Court, yeah, those are the ones my wife made. So if we're gonna blame anybody, we should blame my wife. It's her fault. The start
I'm
of
not
this
gonna blame
whole.
her. No.
Yeah, we'll get her on the show. Don't worry. We're gonna call that out for sure.
Jeez,
Honestly, Seb. I haven't yet met anyone, and we've been through a few tournaments that loves the game as much as Sebastian does. Like I think more than he speaks about his family, he speaks about Cornhole. Right? Let's be honest.
Honestly, yeah, it's true. That is true.
It's true. And Sebastian and I can literally have an easy, on average, minimum on a slow day, it's a 1 hour conversation about Cornhole. On a slow day.
Yeah.
Today we've been texting, we've been talking, we've been excited about having you guys on and some other guests and just talking Cornhole. And this is how this all came about, right? And that's why we're happy to have you guys, because I know you guys are working on something that's a little bit bigger than just tournaments. But before we get there, let's talk about a couple of tournaments. Last year with COVID, I know that there were some big plans. And the last big tournament last year prior to COVID was on March 12th in Vaughan, when you guys threw the big tournament over there, and we had some guys come out from at least over an hour away, and it was a good turnout, but everybody was still worried. And then that night, I remember it all blew apart.
Yeah,
I remember watching the big screen Toronto Raptors canceled, and everybody's looking at each other, what the hell? So let's talk about that tournament. Why did you decide to have it there? Do you remember the location?
Yeah, that was at Magnolia, right?
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So when we first started, we were trying to get different venues to see what works for people and stuff. And that was the first time we went inside of a banquet hall. And same thing. I like to support small business.
Yep.
And a friend of mine owned that banquet hall, so it kind of worked out. We introduced him to the game. He was in love with the game as well. And it was a perfect location for that night. And too bad the next day was like everything was closed. Everything was done after that tournament. But our tournaments we had in Toronto were pretty successful, starting with our first one, our inaugural one, which was the September 2019. And then we had another one in November.
Those are Dave and Buster's, right?
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah,
Those are
Dave
great
and Buster's.
turnouts.
Those
That
are-
first one was huge. I remember.
Yeah, we tried, it's such a social game, right? And so we tried hard to pick locations where, while you're sitting on the sidelines watching other people play, you can have some food in your hand, you can grab a drink, and it
Or a
just brings
coffee.
more of the, or a coffee, right? Or a coffee. But the atmosphere, it's important. It's just as important as the game itself, right? You want people to hang around and enjoy the whole entire venue.
Right. So when you go to these venues, how do you approach them from trying to explain to them what the hell you're doing? Because let's face it, when you hear the words cornhole, it's like, is this guy for real? Like,
I get that. Honestly, like I've done a lot of scouting too, and like I literally just walk into restaurants sometimes. I'm like, yeah, hey, I'm Sebastian. I'm just wondering, have you guys heard of cornhole? Like, I want to start a cornhole league in here, and they're looking at me like, who is this guy? So, yeah,
you guys get that a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big thing is, George, is the size of the court, right? So you can go into some place and know right away that it's not, we can't make it work, right? So that's the main thing. It's hard in our area, GTA, Toronto, to find a suitable location where you want that social aspect with it. Dave and Buster's worked well. Banquet halls they're okay. It's not the greatest, but Magnolia was perfect for us. If we wanted to go long term there, it was a good venue for us.
Right.
But that's a part of the game where winter months indoors, you really got to work and get out there to see what works for you, especially because of the size of the courts.
Right. And then, so after that Magnolia tournament, everything was kind of put on hold, right? and then the big one over the summer. The first one was up in was it Barrie?
Did we?
Muskoka.
Yeah, I think. Oh, was Muskoka first?
Muskoka first. Clear Lake. Yeah.
That's right. We did. Yeah, Clear Lake. Yeah, exactly.
So how was that? How did that come about? Did you just start knocking on doors, or?
So I think I could kind of answer this too. I think she reached out. I think we launched Barrie, and it's like literally the day that we launched Barrie, she contacted us through. Was it? I think it was Instagram. Was it not? Panza?
Instagram or Facebook? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like her. Which I kind of talked to her a bit at first, and they're starting like a new we call it a beer spa. So it's like they had all these plans last year to have this cool like getaway in Muskoka, where you have your own cabins, and it's all beer focused. And then COVID hit, and then they were probably looking to like just to drum up some excitement in business.
Right.
And they reached out to us, and then we kind of just went down, rolled from there, and things kind of just happened. So,
yeah, no, that was a good turnout. A lot of locals came out for sure. I remember that.
That was the one where we had about 25 to 40 walk-ups or something like that.
Yes,
it was something outrageous.
Right.
We couldn't start on time because people were showing up to play, and that was a crazy.
The weather too. We had it was like our first big outdoor tournament, and then it was like, of course, we have all these walk-ups, and then like the rain. Like we were going there. I remember we would drive up every Thursday night. We were doing Thursday and Fridays. We would just go there to promote. Beautiful days, and like they have this cool like area, and we planned it all out. This is where we're gonna put the boards, and then we get there. Well, Pino got there first. I was obviously late because I'm always late, and literally we had to do like a 180. I remember Pino was like, I'd never seen Panza like running around so much. Like, guys, we gotta go and do it. Because we had to switch everything over, and we only had X amount of time, right? Because it was all flooded, right? So maybe talk about that. Like, how was that? Like, maybe they talk to maybe a new guy that's starting a league, like what he has to go through. Like, how'd you pivot so fast, and like just you were like on the go, like we gotta do this, let's go. Like, where do you get that experience from?
Well, Seb, as you know, I got over 20 years experience running ball hockey leagues. The good thing is we play indoors, so I don't have to worry too much about outdoors.
Yeah.
But that is just an experience in my profession. But yeah, we had to move that quick. We went from one side of the beer garden to the other side. And, we had an hour and a half weather delay.
Yeah.
But you know what, in the end, it worked out. But that was for our first big kind of tournament in Barrie outdoors. That was quite an experience. But we hit it off. It was an amazing day.
That was a fantastic day. Yeah. I think it helped as well that we had the DJ Pino Panza spinning some beats that day too, right? So everybody was entertained.
Absolutely.
But we actually had the local radio station out there. I was handing out umbrellas and
Pure country,
it was fantastic, ponchos, right? Ponchos, that's the word I was looking for. But I mean, it was everybody just hung around, like they just wanted to play. And then I'm going to be honest with you, I mean, it like Panza said, it was an hour and a half of the delay. I was like, I'm waiting for people to start walking up to us and saying that we're not going to wait around, but they didn't. Nobody did. Yeah. So we tarped over all of the boards so nothing would get damaged. Right. As soon as we saw a little break in the rain, we'd run out,
let's go,
do it over again, and start the games and tarp it again if it started raining. And it was a fantastic tournament. Everybody stayed. It went a little longer than we expected, but there was no complaints at all.
You even had the little pizza joint there that was
that's right,
giving out specials to players, and they were just like in and out. It was great for those local businesses as well, for a sport like cornhole to bring everything together.
Yeah.
We were able to connect with Pico there, and we handed them an email list of all the registered players. And they, I believe they gave everybody that played with us 50% off everything that they had to eat. So it's great. And you're right, for the local businesses, it's, if you can let them know how many people to expect, they can prepare for that and help you out along the way and give some benefits to all the players.
Yeah, and that day you didn't just host one tournament per se. You had you had doubles, you had singles, you had competitive, you had recreational,
mixed as well.
And then mixed doubles as well. Yeah,
right. And you were able to squeeze all that together, and with the time constraints as well, because the other part of it as well was there were no lights, so you were at the mercy of the gods, right? Because that meant less time for.
True.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was a great tournament. It was fantastic.
I still get people that play in that tournament still come up and say like, man, that was like just like it was a cornhole tournament, but I feel like it was a cornhole party because there's some story. I mean, people were drinking. Like there was a lot of
heads boogieing.
It was like it was a party, man. Like that's what I like about this game too. It's like it's not like so rigid and it's not so formal. Like like you said, being in ball hockey and your whole life, and even me, like I played ball hockey and baseball, and all these traditional sports are like the rigidity of it. It's like, I mean, it's a different sport, but like to be able to like even now that we're in our like older ages, I guess you can call it 40s, like it's like almost like a transition sport where it's easy to play. It's like a party. Like the atmosphere is amazing, right? So that's why I love this game for sure.
And I remember there was a lot of beer. Not only going in, but going out. I remember Dean was the big winner that time, right?
Yeah, we had a lot of winners. Yeah, Clear Lake did good.
It was huge.
Yeah. Clear Lake did good. They sponsored that tournament, and obviously they gave away, I believe, 21. Ended up being like 27 feet, so 21 cases of beer or something. It was outrageous what they did, but we'll be back there.
And a nice day at the spot too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's right. They gave us free day. Yeah.
And you also had some side tournaments as well, right? For the most points and for airbag. It was overall it was great. And that's the kind of thing that I think you guys want to see right across our great nation, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Not just one location. Yeah. But let's go back to your ball hockey. So what exactly did you do with the GTHL ball hockey?
GTB. Okay, so it's called GTB. It's called the Greater Toronto Ball Hockey League. Yeah. Originally, when it was started in 1985, the league started. It's called Northwest Toronto Ball Hockey League. That's the common name that everyone would know. We've transitioned to a couple names since then, but I've been involved for about 20 years. Been running the men's league and then back and forth in the youth leagues in the GTA. Right now, I also coordinate 16 youth leagues within the GTA and surrounding areas. Along with our adult league, which is men's and women's in the GTA, Brampton, Mississauga, Vaughan. So those are the kind of areas for adult. But it's I do everything from scheduling the referees to the schedules to booking the arenas for permits, everything, merchandising, website, social media. I'm like a one-man show from top to bottom. When I say I do it all, the good thing is we have the provincial body that takes care of provincials, and then we have the national body that takes care of nationals. And I've been lucky enough to work at the league level. I've also worked at the provincial level. I was a events director at the provincial level, and I was also a board member at the provincial level. I was also actually a board member at the Canadian level as well, and did admin at the Canadian level. And when I was part of the admin team of the Canadian Ball Hockey Association, we hosted a World Championships in Newfoundland, which I was a part of. So I've also coached at the Worlds. I've never played in the Worlds, but I've coached in the Worlds. I've played in nationals and lots of provincial championships. But from the highest level, which is A, all the way down to C and D, what we ended up playing. So I've been involved in all the steps. So it brought me all the knowledge I know. I've kind of brought it with me to Cornhole and kind of set up everything the proper way is the way I kind of. I
was going to ask you, how did you feel like? Did you feel like that almost like kind of prepared you for like? I mean, because I know we have conversations all the, and it's like you're just on it. Like I'm like, I have no idea. Yeah, I always pull to you as far as like the structure side of things. For sure.
The structure side of running. When you first asked me, I said, we can run a league easily. It's easy to run a league. There's so many different ways. The one thing is not everything is one specific way. You can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? In terms of the game, that's the one thing. It's not like hockey. Okay, hockey is 5-on-5. You want to run a 4-on-4 and 3-on-3 league, you can do that. Same thing with cornhole. You can have 1v1 or 2v2, right? So you can do mixed. That's the one good thing about cornhole is that you can mix boys and girls together. We have co-ed in ball hockey, but it's not the same. It's different, right? Whereas a girl is just as good as a boy in cornhole. There's no like difference,
and no age limit too. Like you can play against like a 12-year-old and a 50-year-old, and it's
exactly.
There's no handicap like with there, right? There's no like the skill gap. It doesn't matter. Like you could be good either way. Like,
so the knowledge of all
and we have seen those matchups too.
Yeah. So all my knowledge from ball hockey, I brought it over to cornhole, and it's made really easy transition for me.
Right.
I know all the governance, bylaws, all that stuff. It's easy. It comes easy for me because I've dealt with it for the last 20 years of my life. So
Nice.
That's fantastic. And Gatto there, Pino, with the marketing side, right? What kind of marketing experience do you have?
Oh, so I spent my career in currently still am in digital marketing, right? So from everything from data analytics to using that data to sell products and drive acquisitions to websites. So my role here again, and to be perfectly honest, I think Panza needs to speak more highly of how easy he's made our transition to do everything we're doing for Cornhole, right? Like, I mean, all the governance with the government, all the stuff that he's doing. If you ask him, hey, we have only 16 players and 43 bags, he understands he'll write a schedule in about 3.5 seconds. I mean,
me and Panza always fight up, not fight, but like we're like, we have 16 boards, and he's like, don't worry, I got it, man.
Yeah. And that's when I literally turn around and I just walk in the other direction when that stuff happens, right? So from my side, like I've been more up into this point, I've helped been the website guy, and I'm kind of like from an online perspective, I've been kind of like, they have all these ideas and I'm like, wait, but there's so many privacy policies that we have right now, because literally the reality is in the past year and a half, in terms of digital privacy, things have been changing, right? The way we use data, the way if someone comes to your site, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, the consent that you need. So I'm trying to make sure at this point that from a digital perspective, when we collect an email address or, we have someone on our site, that we're doing it in a way that we're not going to get in trouble for later.
And I have a question for you, Gatto. So basically with Cornhole, like we talked about, there's so many different avenues, but we've been kind of talking more about like the leagues and tournaments and all that stuff. But there's like another aspect to Cornhole that the reason why I'm so excited about it too, it's like the family aspect and like the recreational where it's like I know even your girls, where like you had a set of boards there and you would tell me, because they just want to play, like they just throwing it, they're there and they would play for it for hours and hours, like
100%.
Like maybe talk a bit about that. Like how did your girls, they were so excited about it? Like what'd you think?
Honestly, it literally, so for those of you who have kids, like, I mean, entertaining a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old constantly is like almost an impossible thing. Right. And it actually happened accidentally because I believe it was actually before the Muskoka tournament.
That's right.
I had boards and bags at my place. We were hanging out and we were leaving one day and my little one, Alessia, was like, "Dad, what are those things?" And I'm like, "Well, it's cornhole." So she's like, "Oh, how do you play?" So I'm like, "Okay, throw a couple of bags. I'll just show you." And like, I thought she was going to just throw a couple and it was over with, right? So I laid down the boards, and for her, I let her sit like 5 or 6 feet back. Nothing tremendous, right? I gave her a little bit of a break.
But 27 feet, man. You gotta train her from young.
Make sure you win.
I know. So, but it was interesting because, you see her interact with this thing that she's never touched before. And the minute that she threw the bag and it actually landed on the board, that was it. Like, she got so excited because she succeeded at it, right? And then all of a sudden, I gave her about 12 bags beside her, so she didn't have to keep walking back and forth. She started getting them in the hole. And then she started jumping for joy. And then every single minute that they had a spare time, "Dad, can we play cornhole? Dad, can we play cornhole? Dad, can we play cornhole?" Yeah. I had to bring them inside so that we can have a tournament in the basement. Nice. Like, they love the game. Man. They absolutely love it. And again, I think it speaks to how easy it is to pick up, right? Like, okay, there's rules to cornhole. There are a lot of rules to cornhole, but for a kid, it's like, throw it, get it on the board, or get it in the hole. That's all you got to worry about. Yeah. Right. And she was like, "Oh, this is so easy to pick up. Boom, boom, boom," and that's it. So I mean, it's awesome. It was interesting to see.
Nice. So it sounds like we've got all the experience to run leagues and whatnot, and the transition to cornhole. So, Cornhole Canada, how did that come about? What, like, we have the bodies here that made it happen. So yeah, you talked about Seb. The words that didn't even finish coming out of your mouth, and these guys say, "I'm in." So when did you guys actually sit down and start to say, "You know what, we need to get this on paper"? When did that happen? You guys remember?
Yeah, well, Seb goes, "Well, because he knows with my experience in hockey, if we can run leagues." I go, "Yes." I go, "What's your goal? What do you want to do?" Yeah, right. And his original goal was a little bit different than we ended up, because I think he wanted to do almost like
I just wanted to, like, I seen when I seen that there was nothing there. So what I first did was, when I first got like hooked, like, even at that, from that party, it was before that, but when I got the bags the first time, my wife bought them, it was the November before. Right away, I was like, I seen that clip that went viral from ESPN, and then I go, oh shit, there's cornhole leagues, and I right away, because that's just me, I started searching, and I didn't find anything really that was anywhere around where I was. And so right away I was like, oh my God, there's a huge opportunity here. And my vision was, register a domain name and just get people excited and get leagues sprouted all over. And I was just thinking, start up leagues everywhere, right? But then that's where we kind of left off. So now, Pino, you can continue. Then I went to Pino, hey, I think there's something here. Like, I think this game can explode. There's literally a huge opportunity, I thought. So then this is where Pino kind of...
Yeah, so basically I went to Seb, let's do the research. I would suggest starting from Canada, as opposed to starting from Toronto, Ontario, and then the country. I said, no, start with Canada and work your way down, because the governance needs to come from the top, from the Canadian Association, and then you work your way down to provincials and then leagues and stuff like that. And we did our research. There was the research I did, I found very few leagues in all of Canada, never mind just Ontario. I think Ontario had at the time maybe 3 leagues,
3 or 4,
and I think and that was it. There was nothing outside of this country. I go, Seb, you know what? Let's try. Let's put this together. I'll talk to my friends in the government and through ball hockey and stuff that I got to know, and I see what And right away they said, yeah, if it's not there, go for it, right? So it's easy. It's simple as a sound. It was simple to say, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, but the work getting it done, it took us about 14 months to actually have it ready that we can say, okay, Cornhole Canada is here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and I've been on your website quite a bit lately, going through all your documentation and your policies, and there is a lot of work in there. It's not just, like you said, not just throwing it out there. Yeah. And with the experience of knowing how to run leagues, putting it all together, it doesn't happen overnight whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And it's a long process. And I'm sure you're still in that process, because to get it across Canada, that's going to be a huge venture, let alone in Ontario, right? Yeah. And the more and more I see, more leagues are starting to pop up. Yeah. I think that a lot of it has to be that the word is out there, and they never realize that they are a league. I think it's just a bunch of players that used to play cornhole and say,
exactly,
let's just join, right? And why not? Yeah. Why not? And I think
that's why you want to give them an avenue to play, but you want to give them something to strive for.
Right.
And if you take everything out of our hands and do it for them, it's a no-brainer for them to say, let's try it. Let's see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Right? So that's why our game plan was, let's do what we have to do, get the word out there, talk to people, and see if we can bring them in. And it's been overwhelming, the response we've gotten.
Incredible.
And absolutely incredible. We are, this month that just finished, January had been the busiest month for me. I've been nonstop, 6 to 8 hours a day doing everything to get all the leagues ready, registered, explain to them how everything works. So, and a lot of them are just jumping in. Some of them I've never run leagues before and just jumping in. I said, we'll take care of that. It's really that easy. So yeah, it's been amazing, the response we've gotten.
Well, yeah, with the groundwork, it does make it easy. So if I can ask a question, I'm a league out of nowhere, Canada, and I contact you, right? What are the common questions that are asked when they call you and make contact?
First question that we get all the time is there a league in wherever, Ontario, right? And our first response is, there's no league. Would you like to run one? We make it really easy for you, right? And there's I would say a selling spiel to them that join us because it really is that easy and it's not costing you $1.
Right.
So there's not a lot of like, oh, how do you play or how do you do this? More of is there a league there? Because people who are inquiring have probably played or seen it on TV.
Right.
So more than, is there a league in my city? Pretty much. And a lot of people, when they hear no, they're saying, okay, I'm going to start one day.
Yeah. I think to that point too, I think, when we think about Canada's crime, we know like in the States, it's like huge, but I don't think we realize how big it is here too, in the sense that like everybody plays it. I bet you like there's so many people that have played it at just a very basic level, right? So I think that like what you're saying, it just makes sense, because just like how I was like, I was playing, I'm like, hey, I want to play, competitively, and then there's nothing there. So my first question would be like, hey, is there a league I want to play, right? And so the fact that, the way what we're doing it to make it so easy now, it is a no-brainer, really, it is.
Right.
Yeah, when you get down to it, to be honest, that's your point. I think almost, I guess I'm paying more attention as well, but almost every single person I talk to now is like, yeah, I've played that. I played that in someone's backyard last weekend or 2 years ago or whatever, right? So someone has somewhere down the line, someone has played this game.
Right.
But, the thought of playing it in any type of organized fashion likely has never crossed many people's minds.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's the difference.
Yeah, it's like playing ball hockey. Everybody's played ball hockey, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But then you get to a level where, you know what, let's go play against other players in a league. That type of mentality, right? Where now you're presenting people the tools to get organized and, to have fun doing it, because, if you're not having fun doing it, then what's the point, right?
Yeah.
And whether that's with a cup of coffee or a beverage,
We're never going to live down these coffees. I'm going to be honest.
I think we're going to have to get coffee sponsors, I think, for the show.
yeah.
Maybe one day. So then Cornhole Canada now exists, and the hard work that you guys are putting in to spread the word and to get leagues coming up there. You're right. They're sprouting out, because I'm seeing more and more things on social media. This league joined, this league joined. Are there any leagues that are joining that have been in existence for a while? You might have some new pop-ups, but have there been any that have been around for a while?
A while, like that started last year.
Or 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, most of our leagues are new. We've had a couple of leagues that have been playing, but not as an actual league.
Right.
So there's one league that was 50 people that play all the time, almost every weekend, but that's not cool. As a league, just as a social thing. Right. And then we did register this week was St. Thomas. They've been around in Ontario. He started last year, I believe in November. And also the Guelph Club registered, and they started playing earlier in 2020. So
that's great. So if I can backtrack for a second, we started talking about your tournaments last year. I just want to hit up the other ones, because I was lucky enough to visit them. The next tournament after that famous Muskoka one, that was the one in Boston Pizza, correct?
That's right. That was a big. Yeah, that was also a big one.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
I remember the venue was phenomenal. The staff there was fantastic. The talent pool too. People were coming out of the woodwork. I think you guys were like, it was a fantastic tournament. Of course, it's outdoors, but it was a great day for it. We had the DJ there playing music. Guys were throwing and saying, "That's a great song." I remember that. It was a good turnout. So how did that come about, Boston Pizza?
That was the one we were searching for a location.
Right.
And we decided we were going to do it, I believe, at Sunnydale, right, Seb?
Yeah.
And then Boston Pizza came on board. I believe Seb went to go visit them.
Yeah, so I'll tell the story. I literally was driving. I think I drove to Sunnydale to go check it out. And Sunnydale is just an outdoor park, and it's perfectly fine. But I was like, man, like it's just, the experience of like having to. So I'm driving home, and then I drive by this Boston Pizza every day, and I noticed that because of COVID, they transitioned outside and they blocked off half of the parking lot, and they had an outdoor section, and like we talked about it before, George. Like when we see a space, it was like, how many boards can I fit there? So I literally just I went there. And I was just like walking around, like measuring with my eyes, just like how many steps. And I was like, and then I go, screw it, man. I'm just going to walk. So I literally just walk in with my mask. I had my, right? And I go, yeah, hi, can I speak to somebody in regards to having an event here? And they looking at me like, okay, like, what are you trying to do? I'm like, well, like I run a cornhole league and we're trying to do a cornhole tournament. I remember the girl at the front, she was just like, I don't think this is the right place for you. I go, no, beanbag. It's a beanbag toss. So that's like how I start off with like, cornhole, and then I get the cockeyed look, and then I'm like, beanbag toss. Like, oh yeah, I play it all the time. And then literally the manager was right there, and he goes, he was finishing up, and he goes, I'll talk to you. And he looked at me like I was crazy, but I explained to him, I go, this is what we're doing. I feel like your outdoor patio is it's going to be a perfect thing. Like, would you take a chance on us? I basically asked him, like, to give us a chance, and like, we're going to bring people here and hope for the best. And he went for it. So,
oh, that was a great night. And then one of your sponsors was another brewery, right? The Red Line.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And again, you guys offered up the challenges there for some prizes. It was a fantastic day. Fantastic. I received a lot of good feedback from the players, because I like to feel it out as well, because it's not just about showing up, drinking, and throwing. It's about meeting people, having that conversation about throwing the bags, and it was a great time for sure. Yeah. And then we moved along to
we went to Red Line. We had right after that, yeah.
Their Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Yes, that was fun too. And I know Sebastian couldn't make it that night. I think it was your daughter's birthday, was it?
Yeah.
Or your son's? Yeah.
His son's
daughter's.
birthday.
It was a son's birthday.
Yeah. And again,
so that was a good one, because that one, that one was good. It was different, but I like that one because that one was at night. So that was our first night event.
Different,
and it was
outdoors too, though.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was really cool to play under the lights. So
that's go ahead. Sorry, George. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, that's another aspect of, like, we literally had how many tournaments, and one was in a venue like Dave and Buster's, right? Different experience. Then a banquet hall. Then we do these outdoor venues in a parking lot under at night. So like it's so like the game of cornhole, other than like the competitive side that we're trying to do, right, with Cornhole Canada, like the leagues and all that stuff, there's this other aspect. Maybe I wanted to kind of pick your brain, Gatto, like, as far as like cornhole, like, do you think there's an opportunity for like businesses or companies to like jump on board and use it as like a tool for them, like either a marketing tool or like a team building tool for them to get like, people involved that way?
Yeah, 100%. And to be perfectly honest, I mean, part of what I was doing before, it didn't really go anywhere because, again, last March, COVID hit. But I already had three companies on board to using cornhole as a team building thing, just like you suggested. And the pitch to them is that cornhole is such an easy game. It's not that expensive, to organize. So those are two things. When you're in a corporate environment, they don't want to pay too much. They want it to be easy. And one of the most important aspects that we were pitching is, you don't set teams. So it's randomizing of teams. So you can have, someone who's in lower management be on the same team with a CEO of a company, right? And it gives you that one-on-one time with someone in a social environment, where, not there's no rules apply, but you can have a conversation, not about just being in the office and doing things like that, right?
Yeah.
And you're in an environment where you're having great conversations without even realizing it, right? Because sometimes, to be perfectly honest, and I've been in that position quite often, you go to a corporate event and you're sitting at a bar and you have a drink and the CEO comes by and you feel like you're forced to talk to them, right? Yeah. Not that you don't want to, because you do want to, but right. you're trying to find something to talk about, right? But when you're saying, "Hey, nice shot," and then boom, something organically happens, it's a different scenario. And I actually had a couple of interesting, pretty big name companies that were interested in doing this for team building. And it's something that I actually feel going to be huge for us as well to push forward.
Yeah, I think that's the aspect of the game that I think it could probably almost be even like bigger than like the leagues, like, because like it is so easy to like to do, and like a company, especially now with like COVID, there's going to be so many companies that are like, they need to pivot, and they've been shut down, or like everybody's been away from each other. Like, you've been basically doing this Zoom, right? How to integrate society back together. I think cornhole is probably one of the best ways that we could do that. And if we could be on the forefront of that, I mean, I think it could be huge, and it's beneficial to companies.
And it's a good thing. Actually, it's a good point that you make, because our last tournament, both at Boston Pizza and Redline, we were actually compliant with all COVID restrictions.
Absolutely.
Right.
We had everybody playing 6 feet apart.
Yep.
Our boards were very far apart. So as we slowly get back to some type of normalcy, it could actually be a game that's played in a very COVID safe way.
100%.
That's a great point, because at Redline, I remember a police officer did come by in the cruiser.
Yeah.
And they stopped.
You're right.
No way.
We looked,
Yeah.
talked. Yeah, you weren't there. He looked around, and I didn't speak to him, but I know some players spoke to him. And he looked around, and everything was good, and he just drove away, because that was when they were really hunting down on gatherings and things like that. And but there was no issue, because everything was safe. Even when you walked inside Redline to grab a beverage or something to eat, everything was there as well. There was hand sanitizers, masks, and everything was legit. So that was fantastic.
Yep.
So Cornhole Canada, where do we go from here? What's happening next?
We got lots of stuff happening. It doesn't really stop. We just announced our inaugural national championships.
Yes.
So that's been a work in progress. So that'll be August 27 to 29, 2021 in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're just working on sponsors, looking for volunteers.
Right.
Babysitters.
Yeah, exactly. Babysitters. So there's so many components to a national championship. I had sent the guys a list, and the list is endless.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of what do you want to hit, which way you want to hit it. So we're out there, we're grinding, and we're gonna make it the best event possible under these conditions. But I think it's going to be an event that cornhole players in Canada aren't going to want to miss.
So cornhole players in Canada, I consider myself a cornhole player.
Mm-hmm.
And asking this question as a player, how do I qualify to play? Like, if I currently play in the ACL, because let's face it, the ACL is there. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Am I eligible to play in a Cornhole Canada event or national?
We take anybody. It doesn't matter where you play.
Okay.
Any player in Canada can play. Our only thing is you got to be a member of Cornhole Canada. And how are you a member? Well, you play in your local league.
Right.
So basically, you play in your local league. They'll be qualifying through the league. Then provincially, they'll be qualifying, and then you qualify for nationals. For the first year, however, because it's our first year, there hasn't been any qualifying, right? So basically, we're just telling all the leagues, any of your registered players are eligible to compete in the nationals. So all the leagues are ready to go. All the leagues that have registered so far are excited and hungry to meet us, I guess, and have that provincial challenge at the nationals, right? Because that's what it's about. Absolutely. It's about provincial pride. It's
for sure.
Massive. Like, I bring the ball hockey back to it. Provincials is great because you're playing Toronto against London, and London against Ottawa, and Ottawa against Belleville, right?
Right.
But that's great. But then when you get to the nationals, it's BC against Ontario, and it's Alberta versus it's
Saskatchewan.
the East West thing.
Man.
And you want to beat the Eastern team. So it's on a huge level. So that's why we're going to make it really province against province is I think a huge component of nationals. So it's going to be exciting.
That's fantastic. I know I'm looking forward, even if it is to help out, and if I get to play, then fantastic.
I have a question too, just to kind of to get some more information out there. Like, so let's say there's a person that's playing but doesn't have a league close by. What are we doing to make sure that everybody kind of gets an opportunity to?
So that right now is not part of. We don't have that inside the bylaws about a player. So right now, if you live in nowhere, Ontario, and there's no league near you, there's nothing that says we can't register you under Cornhole Canada as an independent player. There's just no rules that stipulate how do you qualify for nationals. So that's something that's going to have to be worked out more than likely at the AGM, which will happen at the nationals with all the member leagues. Our first that first nationals, we're going to get all the member leagues part of our AGM, and we're going to work out any kinks like that. But that's going to be a huge problem in terms of trying to get all these people placed, because what do you do? What do you do as an independent person? Maybe it's a group of 6 guys. What do? They live in this area. The closest league is 100 kilometers away. You know what I mean? It's not feasible for them to play there, right? So maybe what we'll have to do, just brainstorming as we speak, is you do some kind of qualifying in non-playing cities. You go, guys, just come here. We're going to put you all on loop, right?
Exactly,
so,
yeah.
You do something like that. That way you get them, because they need to play too, right?
Exactly.
Sure.
They can, or like you can have a tournament, or they can, something like that. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Well, the idea for us is to make things as fair as possible, right? And like, we're new, right? Like, this is new. Cornhole Canada is new. There's going to be a lot of things that we learn and adapt to make it fair for everybody in Canada. Sure. Like, we want everybody to participate and make it as fair as possible.
The one thing I can say, George, is that it doesn't matter. Everyone is eligible to play Cornhole Canada.
We'll find a way.
So as long as you play cornhole, we don't say no to nobody, because my dealings with ball hockey is, as soon as you say no to someone, it backfires on you. So you never say no to people who want to be part of you. So
no, that's fantastic. As a player, I mean, I tell Seb all the time, I just want to play. I don't care.
That's right.
I don't care what organization it is. Yeah, I don't care. If
that's what Seb says all the time too.
That's true. We just want to play, and I know that a lot of players want to play out there. We're not at the level of the States where they're having, even through COVID, they're having tournaments every weekend.
Yeah.
They have league nights every night.
Yeah.
But eventually, once restrictions lift, I'm sure you guys are already planning on some tournaments down the road as well, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're all looking forward to it as well, because one thing you guys do, and I really like, is that you're always learning from the previous tournament.
Of course.
You do something here. I know that you talk to people, you go around, what do you guys think, this and that, you get feedback, and then you move that towards the next tournament, and it's always getting better and better. It's not always my way or the highway. And what I like too is that you stick to it. This is the way the rules are for this tournament. This is the way it's going to stick.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it for the next tournament. I'm looking forward to this year. I'm hoping that restrictions do get lifted, because, that groundhog told us 6 more weeks.
Yeah.
and I know there were some guys playing out there today because it was a sunny day.
It was a nice day. Yeah.
Yeah. Jerry was out there throwing bags and that's great. And, I can't wait. I'm hoping that we see a lot more of tournaments, not just in this area, but right across Canada.
Yeah, for sure.
Build up.
I have a quick question before we head off here. Just maybe, again, to you, to Panza, just to kind of clarify about with like the CCL, the Canadian Cornhole Leagues site that we have, maybe just because I've received some questions, just, how that all kind of works into with Cornhole Canada.
Yeah. So Canadian Cornhole Leagues was not supposed to be anything like what they have in the States. All we wanted to present that was as a portal. So basically, if somebody wants to know anything about cornhole, they would go to Canadian Cornhole Leagues, and they'll give you information on any league in Canada. Now, they struck a deal with Cornhole Canada. So basically, all the leagues that they supply on CCL, in terms of advertising, it's only Cornhole Canada leagues, right? So if you're a member of Cornhole Canada, then CCL, all they do is advertise for you. They're basically just a portal,
like a registry, right?
Yeah. So they're not even a registry. You can't register. Yeah, you can't register with them. You can't be a member with them. You can't be. There's no directors. There's no nothing. It's basically a web portal that's going to show you all the leagues that are in Canada, and it advertises for them. So basically, what it does, it's like their advertising campaign. So as opposed to Cornhole Canada hiring someone to do all their advertising, doing all their social media, doing all that stuff, Canadian Cornhole Leagues does that. So, and then what they'll do too is that they'll help Cornhole Canada run the tournaments for them. That's all. So there's no members, there's no directors. You can't register for it.
Every league is like an independent league, right? Like they're all independent.
Every league is an independent league. So every league in Canada is going to be an independent league. Now they can either be sanctioned by Cornhole Canada, or they can be non-sanctioned and play on their own and do whatever they want. when you're sanctioned by Cornhole Canada, we offer you insurance, we offer you qualifying tournaments, we offer you provincial championships, we offer you national championships, we offer you. We offer an online store right now, which that's still under work in progress, where you as the league is going to make money by sitting at home. So we're talking to companies that are going to fulfill an online shop for all our leagues, where basically they're going to make a percentage of all sales, and they don't got to do anything but sit at home. So all this stuff is part of the membership, and which is free. Membership is free. Players have to pay $10, and that's their insurance cost for 1 calendar year. League year. So our league goes from September 1st to August 31st.
So you mentioned insurance. That's it. Yeah. Why would I need insurance? It's cornhole.
Did you see that guy? Did you see the guy fall in Muskoka and almost crack his head?
No, I must have been getting my pizza.
You must have been getting your pizza. You always need insurance when you're playing, no matter what. Okay, it's just like playing tennis or basketball. What could happen? Right. Well, you could blow out a knee, right? You could separate your shoulder. You could have tendonitis. Right. There's so many. You could chip a tooth, right? You know what I mean? So you need to be insured when you play in any amateur sports across Canada. You have to be insured.
Okay. So one other question. So I register as a player for Cornhole Canada. Are there any restrictions for me to not be able to, or to be able to play in American Cornhole League?
No, because you're registering with Cornhole Canada through your local league, right? Okay. So just remember, like I said, we don't have the independent players where you can just register and you're not part of the league. When you register, you have to register with a league that you're going to be playing in. But there's no restrictions. Any player can play wherever they want, whenever they want, as many times as they want.
So this sounds really great for the sport in general, and the work that you guys are doing. It's a lot of work, and I'm glad we were able to get you guys on, because there were a lot of unanswered questions. People just saying, "Who are these guys?" But the proof is here that you've obviously put thought into it. It's not something that you're just throwing out there, and you also admitted to the fact that it's new. And it's growing, and it's going to get better and bigger. And I'm sure you're open to suggestions, right? And you can have the conversation. So how can someone get a hold of you if they have these questions?
Basically, my email address from Cornhole Canada is Pino, Pino, at cornholecanada.ca. Right. And if we need to speak on the phone, just shoot me an email, and I'll call you. Right now, it's almost like a full-time job, so I'm always answering emails and on the phone. So.
Okay. Now, is there some sort of newsletter that people can sign up for, or anything like that?
Each independent league, the way we've set them up is they can sign up for a newsletter within their league.
Okay.
Just to get on a newsletter. We don't have one as Cornhole Canada. That's something in the works.
Okay.
But nothing for our actual players right now. The league operators get information from Cornhole Canada of what's been going on, but there's nothing that goes out to the actual players yet. But there will be something that will be out to the public on a monthly basis of what's going on and what we're working on.
Fantastic. So in the meantime, I guess just hit up the website, hit up the socials.
Yeah, we're active on our socials and the website. So anything new and upcoming is always on there. We're announcing new leagues daily now. So
yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, I'm excited. I mean, this has been a labor of love with us. I know, like, we I just love talking cornhole, but even just getting through all this with everything. So I'm excited for the nationals and can't wait. And thanks for coming on today. And yeah, man, look forward to the explosion of cornhole in Canada.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for all your
hard work.
Yep.